Groups, CMA, and they'll be sharing their findings of their Waterway Management Twinning Program, which is quite dear to my heart, having running some twinning programs through Group Foundation. So I'm interested to hear about this. Thank you.
Great. So thanks, Carla. I'm Helen from Hopkins, and Sharon Lovett. Most of you probably know Sharon from the Australian River Restoration Centre. So we're going to do a bit of a tag today. So we're going to try and talk about we will be talking about the Waterway Management Twinning Program, but in the context of resilience. So it's not quite as loosely, but...
Ta-da! You got on the second
slide. So the last couple of days, you've heard a lot about resilience, particularly in the context of ecosystem resilience, or landscape resilience, or physical landscapes. But what we don't often talk about, are our human ecosystems. We had Vicky Jo Russell yesterday touched on it a little bit, but we need to actually invest more in building social capital if we want to actually increase the resilience of our communities and the organisations that we work in. So when I talk about building social capital, I'm talking about investing more in our people, I'm talking more about investing in our networks, but also relationships, which was touched on just before. But when I talk about relationships, I'm not talking about superficial ones, I'm talking about the deep and authentic relationships with those around us.
So when we look at people, networks and relationships, all of us are here today because we care about what we're doing. But generally when I talk to people, they say, oh, how are you? I'm busy, really busy, really busy. So for us, that is not actually helping us towards resilience. When we do focus on these three things within a different sort of context, which is what we do in the mentoring program, we do create a resilient community. And resilient communities are communities that are really well socially connected because we invest in each other. We're cohesive, which doesn't mean that we all agree. Cohesiveness means that you can have a robust debate, but you're doing it from a place of security because you can actually have enough commonality in your cohesiveness to talk about difficult things, but to come up with common solutions. And the final part is being courageous. We cannot be courageous unless we feel safe. And so we tend to get into more risk-averse behaviour and narrow our focuses, which then prevents us from being creative. So these are the three sorts of things that we look at building in our communities through the mentoring program. So both Adam and I are friends from a long way back, and we actually believe that if we want to change the world, we need to help others achieve their potential. Because when you do that, you also get a fantastic benefit yourself.
So 4 years ago we set up the Twinning Program, so it was funded by the IRF in the first year, and since then it's been funded by DELP in Victoria. So it's a little bit different than most twinning programs because it not only has a focus on a place or a project, but it has a much stronger focus on people. So that social capital element I talked about earlier. And the way it does this is by building a really strong relationship between mentor and mentee, but also the wider group that you work with in any given year. But in our busy lives, as Sharon mentioned earlier, we often don't have the time to really develop these close relationships with people because we're often distracted. It's an example of how often do we go into a meeting where someone brings their laptop along or their phone, and I've struggled with the phone thing the last couple of days because what it really means is that these people aren't really concentrating on what the speaker is talking about, so they're not actually learning as much as they could. And also it doesn't provide us with that opportunity to actually really develop those relationships with people. So we're lonely.
And what we tend to do is we use this term disconnected, but that actually takes the emotion out of it. So when you actually say people are lonely, that completely changes picking up the phone and looking at the laptop. So for us, in any of our sessions, there's no technology ever on the tables, which makes quite a big difference. So when we actually look at connection, there's some basic things that humans need to do. We need to have eye contact. We actually need to spend time together. And the program is run over 9 to 10 months. We get together 3 times in a workshop and we have a really good time. Now it would be really good if we had someone from the program who could talk about this so they don't just have to believe us. Oh, look, there's Tony! Stand up, Tony!
What a coincidence.
Yeah. How was your experience, Tony?
I had a great time with Brit. So yeah, it was great to sort of be able to meet and talk about a project, and so that sort of safe space, if you like. But as you sort of build your relationship, you become more comfortable and safe. You can get to talk more than just the project. So I remember meeting Britt on site at her place. She made soup, and we spoke about things that she was working on and the challenges she had, and then we started talking more about her family life and things like that. So the mentoring program is a really safe space to sort of learn how to do that and move through that process. But I got a lot out of it. It was really good.
Thanks.
Gosh, that was lucky.
So when we're actually allowed the time to actually develop these meaningful relationships, great things happen. So we've seen some amazing things that have come out of this program, and I think it's really because, you touched on it before, is when you're building that trust and you're able to have those open conversations with the other person, and they're more willing to listen and take on the advice of the other person. So there's some great accomplishments or projects that have come out of this program in the short space of even 9 months. But more importantly, what other people are really learning as well, we've had some great examples of some people, have totally lacking confidence in getting up in front of a crowd to talk. They're now doing that. People who didn't have that confidence to actually go to that next level or promotion in organisations, and they've now done that as well. Yep. Some people have actually come to the program with quite a, I suppose, a negative outlook on their job and the industry. They're now leaving with a more positive focus. So all these things are really helping to build their resilience.
And there's been quite a lot of technical work done. So the fish screens project that won an award last Friday at River Basin Management Society, that was birthed in the twinning program. And we've also had willow removal guidelines, a whole lot of technical waterway projects officially. But for me, the Waterway project is the vehicle through which the mentor and the mentee start the conversation. And then the magic just happens because you let them run. You're never quite sure what's going to happen, but that's fine because it always works out well. And the reason it works out well is because our mentoring program focuses on these skills. And these are not the normal skills that you see in your performance management plans at work. Efficiency, effectiveness, performance management. For me, it just leaves me cold. When you focus on these, all those other things just happen. Because this is the bedrock of trust. And when you have trust, then you can actually be courageous and do wonderful things. So reciprocity, communication, sharing. You often think, oh God, that sounds so soft skills. Let me tell you, the soft skills are the really hard things to get right. And if you get these right, then you get an organisation that hums. And as Margaret Heffernan talked about, organisations don't have ideas, people do. So if we want people to have ideas and to feel safe and secure in doing that, then these are the building blocks that we need to focus on, and that's what our program does. But you don't have to just hear it from me. Where's Helen? Come and tell us, Helen.
Just
happened to be in the audience. So fortuitous.
I'm Helen from Parangamite CMA, and when I came to the CMA, I came out of the private sector into the CMA, and so I actually didn't know anything about this program, and was tapped on the shoulder to be a mentor for Sharon from Melbourne Water to help with the Mary work that she was doing for the Healthy Waterways project. And I think with mentoring programs that I've been involved in the past, the mentor, the mentee get teamed up and off they go into the sunset. And I think the most valuable thing that I got from this was that collective, because it provided you with a really strong network, strengthened networks, the support that you got from that collective, because you go through ups and downs during the mentoring program, because we've said people are busy, etc. But also the resources that came from those programs, I've taken those back into our organisation, and I think just that ripple effect that it creates back into the organisations.
Thank you.
Okay, so the real most important thing with this program in mentoring is really about putting people first, at the foremost. And also with this program, as Helen has touched on, it's also it's allowing people to learn in an environment where everyone's together. So we're kind of social beasts, and we like to be part of a group, and that's what this program's all about, is being part of a wider group. And what we're also trying to do is expand those networks, as Helen mentioned before, and really trying to increase the spheres of influence. So ideally in 10 years' time, we don't think we need to have this program because, as Helen touched on, you're bringing these ideas of mentoring and the importance of mentoring back into these organisations and instilling that through these organisations. So that's really ultimately what our program's all about.
And what's really important about the program is we learn very important skills like this particular skill set, which is around, say, funk off to stress and anxiety. So this is our alumni group, so our alumni now get together, and you see the handout that we've got there. Lucy was asked to design a session that would create even stronger bonds. So we actually all learnt some disco moves of managing stress. So we do, for those of you that know me, I do like to have a lot of fun. So there's a lot of fun and a lot of laughter and a lot of playfulness at every session. And I'm sure Trish can attest to that. We've got quite a few of our wonderful alumni here. So here's the roll call, 2016, 17, 18, 19. If you turn the sheet over, you can see all these wonderful people. I highly recommend you have a chat to them about the program, and you can have a look at the website. Everyone tells their story on the website. And really, this quote sums it all up. We can't actually do this alone. It's one of the reasons I love this sector, is because all of us in this room are part of our social capital. But I really think it's important that we invest in ourselves and each other and value ourselves and each other, because collaboration is the key.
Thanks, Adam and Sharon. I have to say I'm just feeling so calm. I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've just been given a great big hug.
Oh, I was so worried there wouldn't be any alumni in the audience.